If you're stuck under 5 million in revenue, something strange is happening. You're more successful than ever, your team's probably bigger than ever, but leadership probably feels a little bit heavy. The thing that got you here is hustle, but now hustle is the very thing that becomes a liability for the company if you want to get to the next stage. At 5 million in revenue, you don't need to work harder. You need the business to work harder without you working harder. So the rule of 2s and 5s says every business moves through predictable stages, and the stages they align with are revenue levels of 2s and 5s. 2 to 5 million is the growth stage. At this stage, you probably have 10 to 25 people on the team, and the primary question you're trying to answer is how do we optimize our go-to-market strategy? So I'm gonna give you 4 reasons that you might be stuck under 5 million in revenue. Reason number 1 is that growth is outpacing your operations. Your revenue went up, but your infrastructure didn't keep pace. In fact, you're probably hiring people to be a stopgap for systems that don't exist, but probably should at this stage. Mistakes are being repeated and communication is breaking down between teams. It's like the team can't keep up with its own stage. Ultimately, you're hiring people to prevent problems that better systems would prevent. Reason number 2 that you might be stuck under 5 million in revenue is you have a middle management gap. You have managers, but they manage tasks, not outcomes. And every time they run across a big issue, what do? They send it right to the top of the organization to you. And no one is really owning a function end to end. You don't just need more managers. What you need is more managers who think like owners. The shift is to train managers not just to own a to-do list, but own an entire department. The third thing that might be preventing your growth is you have no leadership rhythms. At 5 million in revenue, you can't just lead by walking around anymore. You need cadences, a daily huddle, a weekly tactical, a quarterly offsite. Most companies at this stage have maybe 1 or 2 rhythms, but you need all of them. If you don't have good rhythms, the team drifts. And when your team is drifting at 5 million in revenue, that's like a 6-figure mistake. Reason number 4 you might be stuck is that the founder identity, that's yours, hasn't shifted. To get to where you are now, you had to be an operator. But if you want to get to the next stage of revenue growth, you need to become an architect. You need to move from working in the system to working on the system. And so many founders resist this because it just feels less productive. At this stage of revenue, right under 5 million, your job changes before your title does. And if you don't change with it, the business is going to plateau. If you're stuck under 5 million in revenue, here's how you solve for each of these problems. First, optimize your current go-to-market strategy. If your growth is already outpacing your operations, the last thing that you need to do is add a new product or a new vertical. Just optimize your existing go-to-market and what you do best to make sure that you can keep up with your own growth. Next, build leadership layers. You don't want a flat org chart. If you have a gap in middle management, what you need to do is make sure that there's layers between you and the person at the bottom of the organization to make sure that they're well supported. You can't oversee 10, 15, 20 direct reports. You need well-qualified, highly trained middle managers who can manage them so that you can focus on doing only the things that only you can do, like growing the company. Next, install rhythms. If you're missing rhythms, install a cadence right away. What a rhythm is going to do is reinforce the clarity that you need the whole organization to know about. If you're interested in learning more about which rhythms to roll out, check out the video here where we go into detail on rhythms. And finally, reduce the founder operational dependency. If all the big decisions still have to run through you, you're doing it wrong. You're preventing the organization from growing because you're a cap on its growth. Remember, you can have growth or you can have control. You can't have both. So pick which one you'd rather have. If you're stuck under 5 million in revenue and you're not sure which of your 6 systems is the bottleneck, be sure to take our free executive flow assessment, link in the description.